Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, May 16th, 2019 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I find value in the moment when I go with the flow. And today we have Mars shifting into Cancer. Now technically Mars actually just shifted into Cancer the night before Wednesday evening, Pacific time. It just shifted actually minutes ago from this recording. And with Mars in Cancer, we definitely get a softening. You know, Mars in Cancer is going to re-edify the message of the North Node in Cancer, reminding us of the importance of our feelings, reminding us of the importance of nurturing ourselves, reminding us of the importance of listening to our inner voice, listening to that intuition energy. But interestingly, one of the words that kept popping into my head when I was thinking about Mars in Cancer is the word emotion, because Mars is that action energy, and the word motion is in the word emotion. So I asked Joe, who is very wise. I was like, Joe, what is the difference between feelings and emotions? Because a lot of us, me included, kind of associate them together, and I know that there's a difference, but I wanted to hear his perspective. And so brilliant. The feelings energy was where your intuition or your sensory energy comes from. Emotions is where we do have that reaction or response. What he said, it's our psychological response to things. So we need to be very aware. Just like when I talk about with Mars coming together with the moon. When Mars is in Cancer, if things are going according to plan, if things are going well, if we feel secure, if we feel loved, if we feel nurtured, if we feel cared for, like our needs are cared for, chances are things are going to be good, that we're not going to have the Mars reaction energy. However, if our needs are not met, if we feel that frustration that can come with Mars, because Mars keys us into our desires, our passions, our motivations. So if we're not feeling those, the added emotional energy of Cancer, the added feels of Cancer, which are a superpower, they could make us very eruptive. We are all going to be feeling this. Now, it is also interesting because Mars in Cancer is going to be taking us up to about our next eclipse season, holy moly, where we will have an eclipse in Cancer. We've really got to get this Cancer energy figured out. And Mars is like, I'm willing to take the action. We have to be aware when those tidal emotions are coming up, when those psychological responses are coming up. So good, Joe. That we can tune into that inner voice. We can tune into our feelings. What is it that you need? How can you show up for yourself? How can you take action for yourself in and through these energies? And that will be so supportive of you. Now, another thing to be aware of. We spoke yesterday about Venus moving into Taurus. So between Venus and Taurus and Mars in Cancer, oh my God, both of these signs really enjoy comfort. Both of these signs really like food. If you ask me the signs that like both will like want to turn to food in a time of crisis or not feeling good, while you may find this in anybody, Taurus and Cancer are both really high on that list. So with all of us, with our yin and our yang signs activated right now in these our yin and yang planets in these signs, be very aware of where you are turning for comfort. There's always that option to sit and tend to the self. Sit and nurture the self. And if you can stop before you reach for any of those outside comforts and start working on what's really going on with yourself, that will be so supportive and that will be so helpful when we move into eclipse season. I think today's energy is a really good opening for that. As we build into this full moon, we have Mars at this 0 degrees energy. It's a really good time to feel, well, how am I really feeling in this? And how am I feeling when I approach my basic needs on this energetic level? And just, again, be very aware of that emotional response that does come up. Be very aware of any tantrums that may come up, and be very aware, how can you tend to your senses? I do believe that we as sensory creatures, sensory beings, including the sixth sense, really do need to engage with our senses in order to feel whole and holy on this planet. So check back yesterday's scope if that rings any bells with you. Okay, so besides this Mars in Cancer energy that we have going on, we have the moon finishing up in Libra. And as the moon finishes up in Libra, it makes one more square, one more clash with that Pluto energy. So you may be feeling a little out of balance by some of the power games. There's a lot of power plays going on the planet at this time, and it's making a lot of people feel very uncomfortable. Can you get set in who you are? Can you find that center and that balance in who you are? That is going to support you, and that will help you then take guided action. You know, not all of us are called to be activists on the front line, but we all are called to be activists in regards to our own personal integrity and what is true for us, and showing up in our life as such, showing up in our life in accordance with soul, you know? So just be very aware of that. And if you feel this, you know, this pull from outside you, pulling off balance, this is an opportunity to come back into your center, so you don't end up in that emotional response, because a lot of times when you are out of your center, that is when those fiery, even though we're in a water sign, those fiery emotional responses happen. Speaking of fiery emotional response, we have the moon moving into Scorpio. So the moon shifting into Scorpio at 2:26 p.m. Pacific time, taking us into water world. We now will have all 3 water signs engaged. This is softening on one level, and yet water, it carries the old, it carries the trauma, it carries the vibration, it carries the memory, just like Dr. Emoto, you know, showing the patterns of crystals that come up when you speak words into water. We being, like 74% water, we carry so much. And the water energy can bring this up, especially Scorpio, because Scorpio's like, hey, I will go to the depths. And especially with, you know, full moon in Scorpio energy building, Scorpio's like, you gotta see this. You gotta bring this stuff to the light. You gotta bring the light to your stuff. So again, here we have these emotional tides, this emotional energy that is rising within us. And the first connection is a trine between the moon, newly in Scorpio, with Mars, newly in Cancer energy. 0 degrees. That's the transformational degree. Be very aware after that lunar shift what's coming up for you, because guaranteed it's coming up for you to empower yourself, but it may be something that does not necessarily feel empowering that does come up. As the moon continues on, the moon is going to oppose Venus, newly in Taurus. Oh, and with that push and pull, with that Venus energy in Taurus, you definitely may feel like reaching for something to comfort. But what are you trying to comfort? What is the issue? And can you stand with the issue? Can you allow yourself feeling with the issue? Can you nurture yourself through whatever the issue is before you reach for whatever your remedy is? We're all practicing medicine all the time, whether your medicine is a candy bar, whether your medicine is an aspirin, whether your medicine is wine, whether your medicine is a good time. You know, there's so many different medicines that we will utilize, but your greatest medicine is presence with yourself and to stand whatever's going on. Moon is also going to oppose Uranus, and Uranus is like, I'm not afraid to poke the scorpion. Uranus is like, gotta bring this stuff up. It's there for you to see. So just be very aware. Even though we have the water softening, we definitely got some pokes going in. Finally, a thing to be aware of, we also have Mercury in Taurus connecting to Saturn. Again, there's this 20-degree energy, which reminds us we need to nurture ourselves. But that might be one of your other medicines or responses. Like, I don't feel good, so I'm going to get busy doing what I do so that I feel good about myself, so that I feel important, so that I feel like I'm contributing. Even cats, wish I had Mahalo, who's laying there right now doing nothing. Even cats, when they're doing nothing, are contributing. You contribute with your being. And if you need that downtime, if you need the time to feel, you need to figure out a way to provide this for yourself, because it's very important that you show up for your needs. This is a really big lesson that the universe is going to keep pressing upon us. So be very aware of that. Let's look at the cards. Inner voice. Trusting your intuition, listening to yourself, allowing the feels to come through, being the high priestess of your life. You do have that authority. And when you do so, look at this, the Fool, taking a new journey, doing things a new way, instead of always reaching for that same old pattern, that South Node energy, that same old pattern that fulfills you. What if you show up for yourself? What if you make a change in how you respond? There is major power in and through doing that. Besides that, I've got the politics card and the don't compromise yourself. How are you showing up for your needs? We are being called more and more to put aside where we compromise our integrity, where we compromise our needs. Put away the mask. How can you be true? And finally, just like yesterday, I have the tiger. Keep honoring your senses. They are important and they do help you feel whole. You are here to smell, taste, touch. I always miss them. Listen, hear. I always miss one, but engage your senses. It is important, and that will help you, again, not just reach for the candy bar to fulfill the one sense, to fulfill that feeling part that is struggling. So, that is it for today. Take a second. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for the rain that is back, nourishing this earth. Besides that, you can always book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com for that. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There is more than enough love in the world for you, and you do have the power. Namaste.